Are you okay, honey?
I can't hardly breathe.
I think we need to get you to the hospital right away. Sunday morning is our usually routine. We get up and go to church. Rocky usually has breakfast made, and I came walking out of the bedroom, and he's sitting in the chair, no breakfast made. And I looked at him and I go, honey, what's the matter? You didn't even make breakfast. And he said, I don't know. He said, I can't breathe. He said, I just can't get any air. And I walked over to him and I looked. I could see he was in terrible distress. I said, I think we need to get to the hospital immediately. So I was able to help him out to the car. I got him in the car, I got him to the hospital. The nurses rushed out, got him by chair, took him into the emergency room, and I parked the car, came back. They already had lines inserted, oxygen masks on him, and they looked at me and they said, you got him here just in the nick of time. They said, we didn't think we were going to be able to save him. And with that, they admitted him, and then the next few days were spent with testing, and he was diagnosed with a congestive heart failure. Oh, when we were discharged from the hospital, the doctor looked at me and he said, well, your job is to keep him out of the emergency room now. And I went, okay, how do I do that? And he said, low salt diet, some exercise, and of course take the medications that I'm going to give you.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jamie Pelzel. I lead the efforts at St. Cloud Hospital to improve the health of patients with heart failure. Once diagnosed, the life expectancy of some patients with heart failure is only 5 years. Rocky is a good example of someone who tries to do everything he can to control his health and improve it as best he can. By following a low-sodium diet, Rocky is less likely to have symptoms of heart failure and will be more comfortable in his day-to-day life.
Heart disease is the leading cause of death in the United States, and over 5 million people in the U.S. suffer from heart failure. There is no cure, but in addition to taking the medications prescribed by a doctor, there are some simple things you can do to improve the health and quality of life for these residents. Let's look a little closer. The following video demonstrates the damaging effects of heart failure.
Heart failure is a chronic condition in which the pumping action of the heart becomes less and less powerful. Your heart muscle becomes weak and is unable to contract or relax enough to meet your body's need for blood and oxygen. The weakness occurs in the lower chambers of the heart, also called the ventricles. To compensate for this weakness, the heart usually builds up its muscle mass and produces certain hormones to assist. The enlarged heart initially does pump more blood. Eventually, the compensation made by the heart leads to deterioration or more damage of the heart muscle and less efficient pumping. The result is an enlarged heart that does not provide adequate blood and oxygen to the body.
It is not uncommon for the average American to consume up to 5,000 milligrams of sodium a day. This is much more than the recommended amount. For people with heart failure, the recommended daily amount is 2,000 milligrams or less. This is going to be equivalent to about 1 teaspoon. This teaspoon represents the salt already in foods you eat, leaving no room to add table salt. So where exactly is all of this salt coming from, you ask? A certain amount of salt is going to be found naturally occurring in foods, and then we'll have the salt we add while cooking and at the table. But at a whopping 77%, consumption of salt is mostly coming from processed and commercially prepared food. Let's take a look at how quickly sodium in food can add up. Breakfast: 2 eggs, 2 slices of bacon, 2 pieces of toast, 8 ounces milk, 4 ounces orange juice. Lunch: salami sandwich with chicken noodle soup, 4 crackers, 1 piece of chocolate cake, 8 ounces milk. Dinner: barbecue chicken, mashed potatoes, green beans, 8 ounces of iced tea, 3/4 cup ice cream. Breakfast contains 1,050 milligrams of sodium, lunch 1,710 milligrams of sodium, and dinner 1,468 milligrams of sodium for a total intake of 4,228 milligrams. So what happens in our body when we eat salt? When we consume salt and the amount of sodium in our body rises, water levels also rise in order to dilute and balance out the excess sodium. Fluids can build up in your lungs, making it difficult to breathe. While a certain amount of sodium is necessary for the body to function, excess can cause problems in residents with congestive heart failure. For heart failure patients, a fluid restriction is important. Too much fluid in the body caused by excess sodium makes it harder for the heart to pump and can cause an increase in CHF symptoms, such as swelling in the legs and feet, shortness of breath, and fatigue. Heart failure patients need to limit fluids to 2 liters or 2,000 milliliters or 8 cups per day. Fluid isn't necessarily just a cup of water. Anything that is a liquid at room temperature counts as a fluid. Examples of this could consist of soup, coffee, jello, and ice cream. Now that you have more knowledge about how the heart works and why it's so important to offer foods that are low in sodium, are you wondering, now what? How can I improve the lives of my customers as a food service professional? Think of someone you know who has heart failure, or someone you love who may be diagnosed with heart failure in the future. You would want to do whatever was necessary to help them feel better, and you do have that power. Making changes may be easier than you think. When you hear customers complain that their food needs salt, how do you typically respond? Some staff might say, "There's a salt shaker on the table," or, "I'm sorry, I'll ask the cook to add more salt next time." Now that you know the harm that eating too much salt can do, would you be willing to say, "We have a tasty seasoning packet that will help to give your food more flavor"? Or, "Have you tried adding Mrs. Dash or salt-free Lowry's to add more flavor?" When purchasing seasonings, be sure to read the labels on the salt-free products, since they can be high in potassium, which may not be a good choice either because of other medical conditions your residents may have. Commercial spice blends that are good choices include salt-free Pleasoning, any kind of Mrs. Dash, salt-free Lowry's, Spike, Perfect Pinch, Magic Seasoning Salt-Free, and McCormick's Classic Blend. Your grocery store dietitian or your food vendor can direct you to low-sodium convenience products that are now available on the market. Commercially, you can purchase low-sodium salad dressings, gravy mixes, stir-fry bases, taco seasoning, chili seasoning, rice mixes, and soups. There are a wide variety of crackers, breads, and snack foods that are low in sodium. Herbs and spices like oregano, bay leaves, chili powder, onion powder, and garlic powder can enhance the flavor of many dishes without adding sodium. But be sure to read the food label because it can be confusing. For instance, garlic powder is not the same thing as garlic salt. Look at your menus that you are now serving. Are they more heat and serve type foods, or are they recipes you cook from scratch? If you are already using recipes, serving a 2,000 milligram sodium menu may be as simple as substituting a few items for the higher sodium choices. Sometimes leaving out the salt and adding in a spice blend results in the same high quality of product. If you are serving more frozen and processed foods compared to cooking from scratch, you may want to think about why you are cooking in that manner. Are you being limited by food and labor costs? We all know processed foods can be very expensive and may not be of the best quality. Scratch cooking can produce a better quality product and doesn't have to increase labor significantly. We would like you to consider offering a low-sodium option at every meal. This does not need to be an additional item. One item can remain as you choose, but the second food option could easily be low in sodium. By continuing to offer only 2 choices at every meal, your food and labor costs will be better controlled, since you will not be adding additional items to your menu. Are you unsure how to write a 2,000 milligram sodium menu, or are you looking for some new ideas? Sample menus are available at CentraCare.com. We talked about how low sodium options at meals will improve the lives of those with heart failure. An added benefit to scratch cooking is having improved quality of meals compared to the cook and serve method. Better quality foods may result in better satisfaction from your customers while providing the desired low-sodium diet. Taste tests have shown that lowering the sodium content of foods doesn't necessarily result in producing bland foods. Using herbs and spices and changing the method of cooking can still produce a healthy and tasty product. For example, when pot roast is on your menu, instead of using canned gravy, try making your gravy from scratch using a low-sodium gravy base. Writing and serving a menu rich in whole foods with low-salt options will help keep both the sodium level and food costs down. Do you have scheduled snacks or a snack tray? Consider salt-free popcorn and fresh fruit instead of chips and other baked goods. Or consider limiting the medium to high sodium items to once a week. Most of us that work in a food service area enjoy interacting with our customers. Your daily conversations can improve the quality of their life. We need your help. During these daily conversations, an encouraging comment from you about following a low-salt diet can make all the difference. It can be as easy as letting your residents know that you tasted the entree and you like the new flavor, or praising a resident for making good choices.
The majority of heart failure patients are readmitted to the hospital because of diet or medication non-compliance. You may not know which residents at your facility have heart failure, but offering lower sodium options for those who want to feel healthier can mean the difference for them between struggling for air with each breath or actively enjoying life. Rocky and many people like him need your help so that they're able to follow their diet every day.
A little help from you can go a long way. We can help you transition to a 2,000 milligrams of sodium per day menu if you're not already offering this. Please call the heart failure dietitians at CentraCare Heart and Vascular Center, 320-251-2700, extension 52444. Or you can obtain sample menus at www.centracare.com and click on For Professionals at the bottom.
We've been on a very, very good strict diet, and I think that made almost 100% difference for me.
I mean, it was like a different person. It was amazing, the difference that it made. But I think that if the people in the care centers are given a choice of the low sodium foods or the regular foods, I think most of the patients will gladly accept the low sodium foods because of the way it makes them feel. I mean, of the breathing and less trips to the hospital. I think the patients would welcome the change in the diet.